We're going to replace the front speakers on the 1985 Chevrolet Caprice Classic. These are the original speakers. The time this video is made, he's 34 years old. I've taken them out already, but I'm going to show you how we did that, and we're going to replace them with some new speakers. Looking at the dash here, this is the front left speaker. You just need to get a good pair of tweezers or a very thin screwdriver. Be very careful to pop off the grill plate on the top. That's just a plastic plate and it clips underneath on the sides. And then I've already taken this out, but inside your speaker should be attached with 4 screws, sheet metal screws here on these corners to go in. And we'll take these out here. So just lift the speaker out carefully, and then I've already done this, but we'll detach the harness clip here from the speaker. And as you'll see, there's not much room to work with down here. So you don't have a lot of depth, and no speakers that we've seen on Crutchfield, for example, are marked to fit this because it's such a shallow depth. But we got some speakers. We may have to make an adapter plate, but we'll see if we can get them to fit. So these are the speakers I got. I'm going to try to put these in Hertz DCX 87.3s. They're small, but they should have enough power, and the material is matched to the Kenwoods in the back that we should be able to not have too much imbalance in the sound. And as you can see, the cover plates will fit over that. It's just a question of depth and also mounting. So here you can see from the back about the same diameter here. And depth-wise, actually these are a little bit more shallow. So it's just a question of being able to mount them across these points. As you'll see here, the depth of the original speakers is just shy of 2 inches. And in the opening itself, you have between 2 1/4 and 2 1/2 inches of depth. Okay, so now you can see here, the speakers themselves will fit in just fine. Depth-wise, it's actually perfect. But we're going to have to get some kind of plate here I can put to mount to these 2 screws, and then over to this one, and another plate here to mount across these 2 holes, and then screw and attach there. But the speaker should fit right there, and the existing grill should cover it up just nicely. Okay, so now we're going to be working on an adapter for the front speakers on the 85 Chevy Caprice. Again, these are the original factory speakers. We've got constraints with the depth of the speaker here and the mounting, because these are oval shaped, and the newer speakers like this one, the Hertz speaker, are circular. Now they're okay on the depth, but we have to make some kind of mount to fabricate for fitting them in and locking them in place, and we did that. So I did a test set here. We'll show you how I fabricated them in a minute, but basically I found these old cover plates, had a set. You can get these up at the hardware store, and I was able to fit these, cut them with some strong heavy-duty scissors, tin snips, and then I drilled the holes to line them up. And so I'll show you here in a sec how they fit in place. Okay, so here they are in place. Just slipped them in, lined up the holes here that I drilled, 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch on these, and you're able to use the factory sheet metal screws that went in to hold those 4 in place. Then we could lay the speaker inside the opening and mark where to mount the speaker to this plate, and I drilled 2 holes right there. And now what I'm going to do is fabricate another set of these for the front right side, and we'll show you how that's done. To fabricate the other set of these, to show you what we did, I just laid it right over the top of another clean plate, traced it out, clipped it down, lined it up real good, and we're going to cut these out now, and then I'm going to drill the 3 holes, and then we'll take a Dremel and we'll smooth off the sharp edges, and we should have duplicate sets. So I'm going to trace this out now just like I traced this one, and then we'll start cutting. Okay, so I'm just going to use these to cut out the plates that I traced. Here you can see the marks, so we'll make our second set. Okay, we finally cut these out now, so we have our duplicate set of plates, lined them up, and we're going to drill our 3 holes here, 1, 2, 3, coming up, and after that you can take a file or something to knock off these sharp burrs in the edges. If you do have some bending on the corners, which will happen with the scissors, the cutters there, you can just put it in a vice grip here to straighten out the edges, which is what we did. So for these to use the factory size screws, we're going to drill 1/8 inch holes here. I'll just show you now, do a set of those. We've clamped this down to the workbench and I've marked the holes with a Sharpie, so we'll just do. Okay, so I have a Dremel here, put on one of the grinding bits, and we're just going to gently carve down some of this to take off the sharp edges, and that'll help it for it. So now we've finished cutting off the sharp edges here, and we've mounted the speakers just very hand tight, not too tight, to the plates we fabricated. And now we're going to set this in the car, and then we'll attach it to the dashboard mount plates there. Of course, before we do that, we're going to plug in the connectors. Again, make sure you have a set of factory connectors that'll mount to the connectors in the car. And we'll attach these to the speakers now and put it on in. Okay, one minor hiccup here. These front speakers, the mounts are the same size. Now they are labeled positive, negative, but what that means is the mounts for the GM connectors won't fit. Only one will fit because they're 2 different sizes. So we're going to have to adjust by taking this off and using another harness clamp we'll attach on to make sure it fits to attach to the speaker. And the other thing is to make sure that the polarity on these matches the positive and negative in the front of the car. So got our factory connector adapters in here, and I had to put on that blue to adjust the size, because the speaker clamps here were the same size, unlike the rears. But now that that's in and the cable's attached, we're going to go put it into the car. Okay, so we're going to connect connectors here. Make sure that's clipped in place. Gently feed this down and in underneath the hole, and we'll slide the speaker into place. Once this is down into place here, we're going to get the bolts to mount the plates into the dashboard here. And so now, by having everything just finger tight here, we're able to get this all aligned before we start screwing things in place. And we'll get these holes all mounted up over there, correct openings, and we'll be good to go. For the factory bolts, if you're using them to mount to the to the plate here, 7mm hex wrench head will fit. It should go right through the openings that you've got and attach securely to the dashboard. So we're going to. There we have now all the screws tightened in place, and that speaker is not going anywhere. It's mounted securely, and we're going to put the cover plate back on. Just slip that right over the top. It covers and slides underneath here, and then it comes in on the other side, and that's it. Should mount. Hopefully this doesn't rattle. You can put some foam underneath, and maybe you'll get some speaker foam to cover this, because you can see the speaker right through here, but it's up to you. And that's the front speaker. We're going to do the other side now, and we'll be back. We're on the front right speaker now, and just had a little hiccup here. So we attached the connector cables to the factory connectors and went to put the speaker in place, and it won't fit because here there's an asymmetric opening. This bar here of plastic is in the way. So what we're going to have to do is rotate the speaker, mount it the other way, so these connector cables point up that way. Then we have more room up here, and it should fit right in. So now we've got the right front speaker in. As part of the hiccup of getting this rotated so that the connectors had more room on this end as opposed to down here, we did shave off a little bit more of this plate, and as a consequence of flipping the speaker and fitting it, we moved the hole for the speaker mount. We drilled another hole here. That was the one before. When the speaker was rotated and everything, it just pushed it too far forward. So now hole's here, and it's anchored in, it's not going anywhere, and it's centered on the opening. So we're going to put the cover plate on, and then that's how you swap out the speakers on your '85 Chevy.